Hi folks, how you doing? So I've finally won a locomotive on eBay. This should be a Duchess of Sutherland, a Hornby Duchess of Sutherland, and it is, or it was advertised as a non-runner. So I don't have to pay too much for this, thankfully. I noticed something in the photographs that was interesting, shall we say. Right, well, there's a load of bubble wrap. Well, can't complain that it wasn't well wrapped. But the main line railways box. So, come on, we're getting there. Jesus. Oh, and there's more bubble wrap inside. Alright. Let's get into this. And, yeah, blimey. There she is. Now, what is going on with those wires? Dear, oh dear, oh dear. They've actually put wires through, drilled a great big hole where the firebox would be, and lo and behold, the tender cover's loose. The motor looks dry as hell. There's big bits of solder. What the? So I can only assume that someone's had a lot of pickup problems and all sorts, and has tried to come up with something. The other thing that crossed my mind when I saw these wires on the eBay advert, that this had been converted for 01. Because if you look at 01 conversions, they often have big wires sticking out all over the place. However, we shall sort it and get this back to how it should be. I've always wanted a Duchess of Sutherland, and I've bid on loads on eBay. Just kept losing them. But I remember back in the 70s when you look at the Hornby catalogue, the Duchess of Sutherland was always on the front cover, it seemed, back in those days. Oh dear, these handrails are all coming out. So there's quite a bit of work in this one to get it back to what it should be. So yeah, as I say, I always wanted one of these because they were sort of omnipresent in the Hornby catalogue. I think they were kind of one of Hornby's sort of flagship locos back in the 70s. This and the Flying Scotsman. So we've got a bit of work to do in this. We're going to have to figure out what the hell is going on with the wires and wire it back up properly. We'll service the Ringfield motor. We'll take this body off and we'll find out what's going on inside the locomotive. This was advertised as a non-runner, so it's probably not going to do anything, but just for a laugh, I think we'll stick it on the track and see what happens. Okay, so we'll put her on. Nah, nothing. Doesn't surprise me. Alrighto, we just have to take this to bits and see what we can sort out. Okay, so just having another closer look at this thing, I can see some sort of little circuit board in there, so this is definitely either a 01 conversion or a very, very crude DCC conversion. I suspect it's 01. Right, okay. Another thing I'm going to have to do is refit the contact onto the rear bogie here, because that's been removed or fallen off. So I'm going to open up the locomotive first just to see what nonsense is going on in here. Okay, that out. Blimey. That came out awful easy. Oh, it's got a wee light at the front, which looks like it's blown. Okay, so this chassis is absolutely filthy. There's a copper pickup here that's resting on this wheel, which connects to this little bulb at the front. I'm not quite sure why there's a little bulb. Well, obviously it's a light, but what's lighting up? Don't know. Got a missing buffer on the front there as well. Right, okay, so I think the chassis, Jings, is going to need a complete strip down. And those axles look really dry. And they'll not be picking up very well. So I think really we need to get everything out of there, get everything properly cleaned, and reassemble it. Right, okay, what is this? Let's have a look. We've got a bit of sticky sponge. Well, this is made in Singapore, whatever it is. So I'm guessing that's a 01 chip. It doesn't look like a DCC one anyway. But whatever it is, it's going. As always with these tenders, they just get forced off, or they're taken off and on so often the clips just get worn away. Stupid design. I don't like clips. I should get a t-shirt with that written on it. Right, okay, we'll see what we can do with that, but we'll worry about it later. And it's the Hornby Ringfield yet again. Let's get rid of that. Maybe been a bit hasty in cutting these wires so short, but it's alright, I can splice in a bit more. Right, let's remove these weights. So we'll work on the motor first, get it going, and then we'll strip the chassis down. And then we'll get all that together, as it should be, as it was, before somebody decided to try and make it digital. So let's see what happens when we stick a battery on this. Is there any life in it? Yes, there is. She lives. Doesn't sound so good. Okie dokie. It's very dry and dirty. So do you really want to watch me tear apart another Hornby Ringfield? Probably not. Yeah, they're pretty much done. They're very worn and they're very black, so I think I'll replace them. Right, okay. This isn't one where I'm going to have to remove the wheels, but I will do to clean them. It all looks intact. Release the clips at the back. It's actually got the clips. There we are. So many of these, the clips are broken. So it's actually good to see this is actually in decent condition. There we go. And I've seen worse with the commutator. I'm just going to take this magnet out. It's okay to remove Ringfield magnets. Because they're a ring, they keep their power themselves. Because there's a lot of black dust in here. I know I've said this before, but I really must get a compressed air cleaner. Dab on the old T-cut. Somebody has mentioned Autosol, which is another metal polish, and it apparently works really well for this as well. It's apparently slightly less abrasive. I don't think T-cut's too abrasive, but I'll try some Autosol next time I see it somewhere. But you know, I've got a tin of T-cut that I've had for donkey's years, and it'll probably last forever. Okay, it's a very scored commutator. But that'll do. So somebody's used some sort of lubricant in there, I think, that's just turned to absolute gunk. Look at that. Actually, it's so bad, I'm going to have to scrape it off. Vital piece of equipment in model locomotive maintenance is an old toothbrush. When I was making my last video, and when I was editing it, I thought, why didn't, I was using T-cut to clean the wheels, like that. But I used contact cleaner and sandpaper to clean the axle. But, why not use the T-cut on the axle as well? Right, but T-cut on the axle. Does that clean it? Of course it does. Okay, I'll give these a squirt with this stuff. the advantage of working on a towel. There are disadvantages to working on a towel, but generally speaking, things don't roll about, they don't bounce about and get lost. And I've got a few of these towels that just get used, folded up, turned over, and then stuck in the washing machine. It's a bit of oil in that bearing, and we'll put this back together. Okay, so we'll fit some nice shiny new brushes and springs. Whoops, come on. Alright, okay, so battery test. That works. Nice burning smell of brand new brushes. Let's put a little bit of oil in there. This is a gear oil I'm using, so it just doesn't disperse quite as much as a light oil would. See how much quieter that is? Yeah, we've got a problem. This gear here, if I run the motor this way, you can see it. See it flailing about. You run it in that direction and it's okay. You run it that way, it's all over the place. And it's the spindle there. You can see how loose that is. Okay, I'm annoyed with myself for not noticing this, but this spindle here is oval. It's completely worn down. That's what happens when you don't lubricate the spindles for these gears. This one's okay, these ones are okay, but this one here is almost a perfect oval. So when you put the gear on, it's loose as hell. It's moving about, and it'll rotate where the pressure is on one side. It'll probably work okay, that's why it's going okay in one direction, but when it pushes the other way, you can see the gear's just flapping about. So that's a problem. I mean, the perfect thing is just to get a new motor casing, a replacement motor casing, but if you go on eBay and look at the price of ring-filled motors, you know, motor bogies like this, you're almost cheaper buying a locomotive with a ring-filled motor in it. It's just nonsense, the amount of money that people charge for a ring-filled motor bogie on its own. But I'm going to try something. I don't have any at the moment, so I'm going to have to order it up. But I'm going to try, this measures, let's try the good one. So it's about 2.5 millimeter, the spindle. So I'm going to get some brass tube with internal diameter of 2.5 millimeter and see if I can fit it on there. I'll see if it'll solder. If I scrape away so we can get into the bare metal, we'll see if we can secure the brass tube. And I might have to enlarge the hole a little bit in the gear, but if I can get the gear to rotate around the little piece of brass tube, it might just work. The other thing I could do is cut that off entirely and drill in a screw that would fit in there. That's another possibility, but I think if that doesn't work, I think I'm going to have to try and get hold of another motor, which is really annoying because otherwise this motor's in good condition. But that's what happens when you don't lubricate. So I'm thinking of other possible solutions to this. I'm wondering if I ground it right down, just got rid of the stub of this what's left of this spindle, and drilled a little hole and see if I could fit in tightly a little piece of nail with a 2.5 mil diameter, and that would basically reproduce that there. That would, I think, is maybe a better solution than messing about with little bits of brass tube. I do have the brass tube on order, but I'm going to have a think about this and see if I've got some nails or some piano wire or something that would fit in there if I get rid of this and drill a hole. Okay, so I'm aware there's an awful lot of work involved in this locomotive, and I'm probably not going to be able to squeeze it all into a 20-minute video. So I think what I'm going to do is break the video up, and I think we'll just call this the end of part 1. So to be continued is fixing this and getting the chassis back in order and hopefully getting it run again. So I'll see you in part 2, folks. Catch us later.